Hello, it's Nick Kramer from Visible's product support team. If you're managing a portfolio of 50, 100, or 200 plus portfolio companies, you're going to know this challenge. You already have your data inside Visible, but it can be available in a mixture of dashboards, reports, or even exported Excel spreadsheets. So to get the insights that you need, right when you need them, it's going to involve searching for that source data or reaching out to somebody on your team. But with Visible's MCP server, you can just ask AI. Portfolio teams are stretched thin, and when there's founder meetings coming up or an internal portfolio review, it can be a challenge to cross-reference ARR trends with burn rates and fundraising statuses across dozens of companies. One of our customers, Hatch, which is a UK-based pre-seed and seed investor with over 180 portfolio companies, ran into exactly this. They had a great process for gathering their data utilizing Visible requests, but they needed a more rigorous process to quickly get insights to make decisions. They wanted a way to go from data to answer instantly. And that's where Visible's MCP server comes in. The feature connects your AI tool of choice to Visible, so that way your team can query all of your KPI and fund-related portfolio data through natural language utilizing an AI interface. So no more manual exporting or combing through your data or waiting. Your portfolio data becomes conversational. So let me show you how this actually works. We'll start with this question, which is what portfolio companies have less than 6 months of runway? And this is great to show which companies are at risk right now. And within seconds, you can see Visible's MCP server is utilizing the latest metrics that have been submitted by founders through the Visible request feature and the AI inbox, and it's sourcing that runway data to show exactly which companies need attention right now. And I can actually build off of this existing prompt instead of starting from scratch. So now I've asked, of the companies with less than 6 months of runway, which ones are planning a fundraise? So this can help me get a clearer picture, because instead of just looking at the at-risk companies, I now have them split into two groups. Founders who have a plan in motion and founders who are just burning through their runway with no raise in sight. And of course, those are going to be two very different conversations. The first group might just need warm introductions, whereas the second group needs a call this week. And that's what proactive portfolio management actually looks like in practice. It's not just knowing who's at risk, but it's understanding that full context so you can show up for the right founders in the right way at the right time. Now let's translate some of this company performance data into narratives that we could then share with LPs. So this prompt is show me ARR growth for companies that raised in the last 12 months, and then generate 2 bullet points for each company inside of an LP update. This query is going to do two things at once. First, it's going to look at the ARR growth for every company that's closed a round in the last 12 months, which is a really good cohort to look at for an LP update because they've recently been validated. And then it's going to go one step further. So instead of just surfacing the numbers, it's actually going to draft an LP update, 2 bullet points per company, which you could then drop directly into that report. It's also creating some visualizations here that I could take screenshots of and bring directly into that LP update. And historically, this has been a very time-consuming deliverable to produce, but this helps pull that data and automatically create a narrative for you. So instead of taking hours to do this for 10, 15 plus companies, that work is now compressed into seconds. You can see here that each bullet point is headlined by a performance metric, and then it's framed with additional context so your LP doesn't just see a number, they're seeing the full story here. My next prompt here is which companies are actively fundraising that have not submitted an update in the last 60 days. Again, this is a combination query that previously would have taken manual effort to answer. And I'm looking for 2 signals at once, fundraising activity and a lapse in updates. And the reason that the combination matters is that these are often going to be your highest stakes companies, because a founder who's out on the fundraising trail, they're busy. I mean, they're in investor meetings, there's due diligence requests, it's time consuming, and updating their VCs can sometimes fall off that list. But that's also when you need the visibility the most, because if the market feedback's tougher than expected or a lead investor pulls out, you want to know that early enough to actually help. And although 60 days without an update from a company isn't necessarily a red flag on its own, it can help inform which companies to prioritize. For Hatch, connecting Visible to their AI tools via the MCP server was a turning point. Their portfolio team now spends less time navigating data and more time acting on it. They reclaimed roughly 10 hours per week in coordination time and built a graduation benchmark report from years of structured data that would have been near impossible without this foundation. Every decision from which founder gets a call today to what they tell LPs next quarter is quickly backed by real numbers. Your portfolio is already generating the data. Visible's MCP server makes sure it's working for you. If you're ready to move from reactive to proactive portfolio management, get started utilizing the Visible MCP server today.